Chapter 1. No. Jacob Gordon's heart races, his mind already foreseeing his darkest fears. Jacob's will to protect whom he loved went into action. Energy sped through him and onto the vehicle, excelling towards his wife when abruptly the car came to a screeching halt. He rushed across the gas station's parking just in time. Song's knees buckled as her legs lost their sturdiness. Despite the distance between them, Jacob was there to catch her in the blink of an eye. Startled, Song looked at her husband, stunned by what had just happened. She turned her head, and her eyes locked with the driver. "Are you okay?" Jacob was out of breath as he checked his wife. He checked over her, seeing that she was not physically harmed. Jacob took her hand as they walked past the damaged vehicle. The driver exited his car and scratched his head as he observed an unmistakable handprint embedded into the hood of his car. "How did you do that? I know it was you, but you were nowhere near that car. We can talk about it when we get to my aunt and uncle's house," Jacob said as he rushed her to their car. He opened the passenger's side and guided her into the front seat. "Fasten your seatbelt." Song's eyes scanned the gas station parking lot. People were gathering. Jacob had entered the driver's side and immediately took off toward his relative's home. The engine's sound was all that was heard until they reached his aunt's home. Justina and Brandon Gordon waited on the front porch, both already aware of the incident that happened at the gas station. Jacob guided Song out of the car and introduced her to his aunt and uncle. Song felt nothing but love coming towards her from his family and felt relieved to be in a safe, loving home. She opened her mouth to express her gratitude when a sharp pain caused her to scream out. "How far along is she?" Justina reached out to Song. Concern covers her as she places a hand on Song's belly. "It's too early, she is just 8 months." Jacob held onto his wife as she groans in pain. "Yes, but she's carrying twins?" Justina nods to her husband to get ready for Song to give birth. "Should we call the ambulance?" Jacob lost confidence in their original decision to have the babies naturally at his aunt's home. Song cried out in pain as her water broke, splashing all over the hardwood floors. "I don't think there is time," Justina said. "You brought her here because you both wanted a natural birth, right?" His aunt locks eyes with him. "Yes, but I want nothing bad to happen. I thought we still had at least a month. Brandon, help me get her to the guest room." Justina knew her nephew was about to freak out, and she needed to focus on Song. She looked over at Jacob and sighed. "I'm going to need you to get it together. You are about to be a father," she said, placing her hands on her hips. "Why is everything happening so fast?" Jacob voiced whines about the turn of events. "Cause these little ones what to meet their aunt and uncle. Go boil some water." "Boiling water? Okay, I can do that," Jacob said, rushing off towards the kitchen. Brandon looked over at his wife. "What's the boiling water for?" he asked while swooping Song up into his arms. "To keep him out of my way." Justina threw a dismissive wave as her husband and her enjoy a good laugh. Song also giggled, but the pain prevented her from fully enjoying the joke. Brandon was a large man. He stood about 6'5" with broad shoulders. For an older gentleman, he seemed to age well. Brandon carried Song up the stairs and to a beautifully decorated guest suite. He placed her on the full-size bed and gave his wife a kiss on the forehead before informing her he would be downstairs, keeping Jacob out of her way. Justina turned her full attention towards Song. "I have been a midwife nearly all my life. You have nothing to worry about. I delivered Jacob and all of his cousins. Well, most of them. Jacob told me," she said, knowing that she was in excellent hands. Justina pulled out a white gown from a dresser drawer for Song. "Here, let's get you into this and get you as comfortable as possible." Song blushed, feeling uncomfortable, but she knew she needed to prepare herself to have her babies. Where are you from? Justina's goal was to take her mind off what was happening. I'm from California. My parents moved to Georgia not too long ago, and that's where you met the troublemaker. Justina spoke as she prepared the tools and supplies for Song to give a healthy delivery. Song giggled. Yes, he applied to be a delivery boy for my parents' Chinese restaurant. Justina smiled. It seemed to work. Song had already taken off her top and bra as they talked, and Justina placed the gown over her head. That nephew of mine couldn't stop talking about you, but I loved how happy he became. Song gasped and clenched her fists into tight balls. Her belly tightened, and she felt the urge to push. What do I do? She asked Justina. What is your body telling you? Justina works to get her to tune into her body. Song looked at her, confused. I want you to close your eyes and focus on the contraction. What do you feel your body needs right now? Song fell silent as she held her eyes closed and bore down, focusing her energy on the contraction. Justina moved in sequence with her, removing her pants and undergarments. Song put all her might into pushing despite the incredible pain she was enduring. You are doing great, just pace yourself. Justina coached while resting her hands on Song's knees. Breathe, and when you're ready, let's push again. 5 minutes passed, and Song pushed again. Oh my word! Justina gasps as she rushes to get a nasal suctions bulb to clear the baby's airway. Is he or she out? Song spoke between deep breaths. Just the head. You need to keep pushing. Justina kept her tone calm, although there was a quiver in her voice. Justina looked down at the little baby. Her skin was blue, and she seemed unresponsive. Song pushed again, freeing the first baby. She leaned back, exhausted yet waiting to hear the first cries of her baby. Before she could question the silence, another contraction came, and the second baby emerged. Frantically, Justina did everything in her power to revive the first baby without drawing attention to herself. She sensed that Song's mind was fragile, and she needed her to be vital to deliver the second baby. Justina called out to her husband, and he came quickly, Jacob in tow. She wrapped the first baby in a white blanket and shoved it into her husband's arms. Take this one away. Jacob rushed to Song's side and held her hand. I'm here, baby. Whatever you need me to do. Song pushed again while squeezing Jacob's hand. The second baby's cries burst into the room. Song's heart burst with joy as tears streamed down her face. It's a girl. Justina felt a weight lift off of her shoulders to know that at least one twin survived. She's beautiful, baby. What should we name her? Jacob asked his wife. Mei. Let's name her Mei, Song said before passing out. Jacob took the baby from his aunt's arms. Mei Gordon, this is Daddy. I love you more than you will ever know. Current year. Her heart swelled in her chest as she gazed at the picture on her nightstand. She gradually sat up from her warm, comfortable bed and picked up the frame from the nightstand. Mei had woken from another dream of her late father, Jacob Gordon. She had his beautiful green eyes and a tan complexion. I miss you, Dad. When I turn 18, I'm going to find your family so that I can see you once again through them. Mei swore to herself. She placed the Atlanta, Georgia-themed frame back down on her nightstand and stood from her bed. Walking over to her bedroom window, the bright Florida sun seems to burst in through her blinds and warm her soul. Just 2 more years, Dad, and I will be free of this place. Mei looked down onto the sidewalk from her 2-story, 3-bedroom townhouse and sighed. Lexington, of all the cities in Central Florida, why did it have to be Lexington? Mei could hear her younger sister Aria arguing with their mom concerning her outfit. It was a daily argument her mother had with Arya. Mei counted to 10 in her head, knowing the exact time her stepfather, Thomas Pollard, would attempt to break up the argument. "I can't wait to leave," Mei grumbles as she walked towards her dresser drawers to get dressed. "Sweet girl, hurry, or you will be late for school," Bao said as she entered Mei's bedroom. "Prayers?" She raises a brow as he looks at Mei for not praying first thing in the morning. "Sorry, Bao." Mei moves to her bed to kneel and pray. "I will get you something to wear." Bao gave Mei a loving smile. Bao quickly selected a pair of jeans, undergarments, and a shirt. She laid her clothes out on the bed and left the room. "Mei, breakfast is ready," Song calls out to her daughter from the kitchen. Mei dressed as and rushed downstairs. As she entered the kitchen, she kissed her mom on the cheek and grabbed some toast off her little sister's plate. "Hey," Arya shoots her sister a dirty look. "I don't want to miss my bus." Mei apologizes to her sister before darting towards the door, bumping into her grandfather. "Sorry, grandfather," Mei spoke in Chinese. "Come on, let me walk you to the bus stop," he said, taking her hand. "Sure, grandfather," Mei said as she opened the front door. She shouted goodbye to her mother, then happily slid her arm under her grandfather's. "Grandfather, tell me about what it was like when you were growing up." She enjoys the morning walks to her bus stop with her grandfather, especially since she was the only one at her bus stop. At least she had her grandfather to speak to. "Yes, but today, focus on your schoolwork. I know it can be hard for you. Today, I need you to stay alert and be prepared." "Yes, grandfather, I will," Mei said. "But I haven't had an unpleasant experience since I was 13. "Yes, when my little flower was just 13, you had an intense vision, and your mother did not believe you. It has distorted your understanding of your gift, but you did nothing wrong. And often, the people closest to you will let you down. I don't want that to happen again." "I understand, great-grandfather," Mei said with a sigh. "Did I ever tell you the story of the dragon and the phoenix?" Mei's green eyes brighten as she leans on her great-grandfather. She had heard the story more times than she could count, but she enjoyed listening to her great-grandfather tell the tale. He did not wait for an answer. The ancient legend poured out of the old man's lips like honey to Mei's ears. Before she knew it, she was at her bus stop, and her great-grandfather was making his way back home.